students, and welcome to the unit number 7 overview. This is our second to last unit. Unit number 7 takes us through the last half of November, and then we have one more unit after this, unit number 8, which takes us through the first half of December. This is it. This is our final countdown. So, as I have been doing, this is going to be your step-by-step video guide for unit number 7, and then there will be a separate video embedded in task 3 going over the actual content and information to help you make sense of the theme for this particular unit. So, let's go take a look at Blackboard together. As usual, you will land here on our home page. You'll see that I already have the last Being Thoughtful assignment posted here, which is also available in unit number 8, but I wanted to make sure that it was very visible to you. And as you scroll down, you'll get to unit number 7, and as you'll see, unit number 8 is also already posted. So unit number 7 is a week and a half. Unit number 7 goes from November 15th through the 24th, so a week and a half. We are off from the 25th through the 28th for the holiday. So that means that things are due for this unit on the 24th, although, obviously if you need to take that time, after the holiday, that weekend, through the 29th, please do feel free to do so. This will pop up a little reminder that if you haven't, for example, turned in your quick facts check-in or haven't worked on, as I will show you, what the discussion board requires you to work on for this unit, you'll get that notification from Blackboard, right, that you're missing that assignment. Again, no points off for late work. So this unit is continuing to talk about feminist abolitionism as the path to equality and equity in a world, in a society like the United States that is so incredibly carceral in the ways in which we use incarceration as a form of racist social control. And what we're learning in this class is also a racist and sexist and homophobic and heteronormative form of social control, right? That the criminal justice system doesn't actually keep us safe, but actually is a source of violence. And so we've been learning all semester how feminists of color have been and continue to be at the forefront of these calls for abolitionism and explaining how we can truly create a new future and a new world that is more equitable, less violent. So as always, there are your tasks over here. Just a couple of things to point out. Remember, you can skip one of your quick facts check-ins this semester. So there's a quick facts check-in assessment for each of the units. However, I built into the syllabus, right, only 7 count in the gradebook. There's 8 possible. We have 8 units, but only 7 count. So what that means is you can skip one. Some of you have already done so, but if you haven't done so, think about whether you want to use that for unit number 7 or unit number 8. I purposely build that into the syllabus so that students, if you need that mental health break, that physical health break, the overwhelmed with work, other responsibilities, right? You can take those, basically 2 weeks and take that time to recharge and refocus. You still have to do the discussion board stuff, right? But you wouldn't necessarily have to do the readings for that unit because you're not doing the quick facts check-in. 2 other things, please double check your grades. I try really hard not to make mistakes, but occasionally I do. I can fix errors now, right, before grades are due. But after grades are due, I can't really fix anything. So check now, not in February. And I do encourage you to check your total number of points here on Blackboard. Remember, we are a 100-point class, which means if you're aiming for an A grade, you need 93 points. So see how many points you have so far. And then see how many points are left to complete, right? And figure out how you want to divide up your time and divide up your energies to ensure that you get that goal grade, right? So if you're aiming for a B, that's in the 80s, right? You want 80 points, 80 to 89 points. Again, 93 and up is an A. Your last option for extra credit is also this coming Saturday on the 20th from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. The National Women's Studies Association, which is the professional body for people in gender studies, gender and women's studies, gender, women, and sexuality studies, right? Those of us who are gender studies scholars, teach in gender and women's studies classrooms. This is our professional body. And so our professional body, like many of them, they host a conference every year, and because of COVID, they're doing it online. So they are doing a plenary, which is a main big event panel of amazing scholars, scholars of color, feminists of color, talking about transnational feminist abolitionist politics. What? So contact me to get the link. I should have it by Friday, if not sooner. And so I'm very happy to share that with you. It's basically me signing up for the Zoom link, and then I'll just share it so that everybody can get on. Attend it. I don't think you'll be able to chat with me on it, but take a couple screenshots to show that you were there. And then you can, email me afterwards and just do a quick summary of what it was that you found surprising, something new that you learned, right? Just to give me that information so that you can get your 2 points of extra credit. Once you feel settled and understand what unit number 7 is all about, then you can go over to Read, Watch, Hear. These readings are going to be very helpful as you complete your slides to teach your classmates about the organization and as you prepare for your last Being Thoughtful assignment. So these are a little bit lighter reads, partially because this is a week and a half, and for those of you who are also in my other class, I didn't want to overwhelm you with 2 really heavy units at the same time. So for unit number 7, right, I want you to read 1 of 5 short readings from the book Captive Genders, Trans Embodiment, and the Prison Industrial Complex. What? So if you click here, you'll have to log into the John Jay Library if you aren't already logged in. Come on, Blackboard. Sometimes I have to refresh. Click here, log in. And it will take you to the book itself, right? So here is the cover of the book, right? You can go back and be like, wait, what do you want us to read? And if you look, you'll see I'm asking you to read from the last part, Busting Out, Organizing Resistance and Building Alternatives. Come over here. You're like, oh, there it is, Busting Out, Organizing Resistance and Building Alternatives. And as you'll see, this is part of a section, right? And so once you start scrolling through, right, you'll start to see the options. So this is one option, 10 reasons to dismantle the prison industrial complex through queer trans analysis and action. That sounds very relevant to what we have been learning, right? So you're just reading 1 of those 5 short writings, although obviously if you want to read another one, you can. They're, about 5-6 pages each. So there's the 10 reasons to dismantle the prison industrial complex. There are other ones focusing on the gender wars, abolitionist imaginings, right? You get some of the really interpersonal stuff as well. So, scroll through and see which one it is that you would like to look at. This first one, bolded points, which is really awesome. These are 3 caveats. And then 10 reasons, bolded and numbered. So for those of you who have been struggling, and I get it, like this whole semester, right? It's really hard. I've been asking you to learn what feminist abolitionism is, why it's important, and why it's especially important for John Jay students, right? We're the John Jay College of Criminal Justice, and here you have feminist abolitionists telling you that the criminal justice system it's not broken. It's actually working as it's supposed to, which is in an incredibly violent, racist, sexist, transphobic, heteronormative way. So we need to envision, right, that visionary feminism that Bell Hooks talk about. We need to envision a future where that looks different, and we already have people doing that. So then how do we work together to create this change? What are the roadblocks to this change, right? What does it mean to challenge the status quo, which is really what we're doing? And how to reconcile the fact that you're learning about this at John Jay. I really encourage you to read that first piece, the 10 Reasons to Dismantle. If you really enjoyed, for example, the information about Miss Major from a few units ago, the second option, Making It Happen Mama, is about Miss Major, or at least an interview with Miss Major, right? So again, take your time. I also included a chart that is from a later page in the book, but a chart that I think is very important, where it outlines exactly what the prison industrial complex is and why it's so problematic, and how the beliefs that are at the root of the prison industrial complex, right, are reinforced, the tools that they use, how it impacts people, and what happens as a result, right? So this is what the PIC is, empowered by the forces of racism and sexism and capitalism and homophobia, that uses tools like imprisonment, incarceration, surveillance, media, militarization, right? The way that we have militarized our police forces, various forms of social control, that use these tools as a response to problems like poverty, homelessness, joblessness, which when we say those out loud, don't that sound like things that you should be imprisoned for, right? Who it affects, and again, the products of those processes. This will become important, so again, make sure that you pay attention to the one reading that you do, because this will help you create your slide. Then 2 short reads, How Anti-Violence Activism Taught Me to Become a Prison Abolitionist, by Black feminist scholar Beth Ritchie. And then a short read from the Audre Lorde Project, which is one of the organizations that y'all are studying this semester. And so for those who are studying the Audre Lorde Project, you could take this and build upon it, one of the people in your group for your slide. But talking about self-care and community care as tools, right? How to break isolation, which is incredibly important right now, considering what we've been experiencing for over 1.5 years with COVID. They even have templates, right, for wellness planning, which I love. Then 2 optional reads. Again, I made these optional. They're listed as required on the syllabus, but I made them optional because I want to make sure that you have time to work on your slide. But these are really useful, especially if you are considering going to law school or graduate school after you leave John Jay. This unit really breaks down what feminism is and how important it is, which becomes particularly useful at the end of the semester. And the other optional read then is particularly important for gender studies majors and minors, but especially for those of you who are considering majoring or minoring, which is a chapter called Transform Yourself, an invitation to deepen your commitment to women and gender studies in the book Transforming Scholarship, Why Women's and Gender Studies Students Like Y'all Are Changing Themselves and the World. So this is really helpful. Students really like this chapter because it helps them explain what it is that they're doing to their families. This has a lot of other information here, but you don't have to read it. You can just skip right to that first page 1. So skipping the preface. And here you go. Right. Then you'll do your quick facts check-in like usual. But this one is a little bit different because it's going to help you craft your slide. So I'll show you here. So the question, which is worth all 4 points, is, again, to use this chart. Again, read this chart from the inside out. And then in 2 to 4 sentences, as succinctly and specifically as you can, explain which specific set of interests, forces, tools, problems, people, results that your particular organization is addressing, right? So for example, Black and Pink is an organization that is focused on LGBTQ incarcerated individuals, right? So they're looking at criminalization, they are looking at homophobia, they are understanding how that infects and targets, queer people. And then changing it up a little bit for the discussion board. I have the directions in the discussion board because we've been using it all semester. So if you click here, it'll take you to the discussion board page, and we'll just do the Audre Lorde Project since that was something that we looked at for this particular unit. So you have to create your slide. Create your slide by November 24th. Each organization has access to a template that I made. You can totally, change the color, change the formatting. Once you start in, hey Hilda, thank you for already starting. Add your name here, and then you'll also add your name to your slide. So like Hilda's already made a slide. You're only responsible for 1 slide, but oftentimes students like to make more than 1. Alondra's already in there. I'm gonna add your name over here, Alondra. This is a high points, high stakes assignment. So this is something that should be, where you take your time, where you're editing it, where you're making it really awesome. You want this to be interesting to your classmates. You want to teach your classmates all about your organization. This way, when you leave the class, you know not only about your organization, but at least 2 others, right? So you're learning from each other, learning what fierce advocacy for gender justice looks like, outside of the walls of John Jay. And also it kind of helps you see potential job options, right? So that, learning about the law doesn't mean that you have to go into law enforcement or even into, becoming a lawyer. You can use knowledge of the law if you're working for sexual assault and domestic violence organizations. The knowledge of the law is very helpful when working with any sort of criminalized group of people. For example, homeless people, poor people, black people, other people of color, immigrants, people who are assumed to be immigrants, sex workers, right? And so that knowledge of the law becomes really helpful and useful in being a fierce advocate for justice. Again, you're only responsible for one slide. You create your slide on your own. Coordinate with each other to make sure you're not being repetitive, and you can do that here if you want by replying and talking about what it is you're going to do. Again, there are headers and a template to guide you, but you can change that up if you like. All I'm asking is that you do complete this now in unit number 7, because in unit number 8, then you're going to go explore each other's presentations. So you want to make sure that it's done by the 24th, so pre the holiday break. Because you're only responsible for your own slide, it's totally okay. This is a group project, but I'm not grading you as a group. I'm grading you on your individual slide, right? So it's okay if your, group mates are a little bit unresponsive or don't complete their slide. So that is it for the step-by-step guide for unit number 7. Again, this is the end of the semester. You have unit 7 through the end of November. Unit number 8, our last unit for the first half of December. Unit number 7, you're finalizing what you've been learning about your organization and creating your slides, so that in unit number 8, and really for our final, that you will explore other organizations as well, and your classmates will explore yours. So make sure it's interesting, informative, clear, right? Really talk up, right, your organization. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and thank you for watching.